What is up, my Forex for Beginners family? Welcome to Module 2. This is where things get really exciting. The first module was just setting up our tools and the software we needed to actually start Module 2, the detailed training. Module 2 is where I'm going to teach you specific skills you need in order to master chart analysis. So every lesson is really important. I want you to focus on what you learn in each chapter. I want you to watch the video once, twice if you like, and then I want you to go to your own TradingView chart, reproduce the lesson, so mimic or copy what we did in the lesson. I want you to mark up what we learned, and then I want you to go into the student group and post your charts and ask for feedback and see what you're doing right, see what you're doing wrong. I'll critique your charts, as well as other members in the student group will also help you out. We're a big community. I'll quickly jump over here to the student group. And this is one student here, but there's many students. We're all posting our charts, and after each lesson, I want you guys to post your charts. And by posting your charts, you're going to get feedback of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and it's going to accelerate your learning. I want you to not to worry about that there's other people in the group who may have more knowledge than you, or you're a beginner. I want you to remove all your fears, because the quickest way to learn is by following my training and then reproducing what you see on your own TradingView charts, and then getting feedback and mastering that lesson and then moving forward. I'm going to be giving you specific lessons for a certain amount of skills and a certain amount of tools. I'm going to teach you what you need to learn, and then you're going to put all those tools together and you're going to follow a winning strategy that I'm going to give you. And that's going to accelerate your learning. It's going to make it really exciting for you to see your progress that you're making on the charts. And you're going to combine that with taking demo trades on your demo account. That's why we created a demo account with our broker. And I'm really excited for you, because I just think back of when I started, I didn't have the knowledge that I'm about to give you. And I never had someone give it to me in such a fast-paced way and combined it with a winning strategy and a student group. The tools I'm giving you are tools that I didn't actually have the first 3 years when I started learning. I've been in this market for 8 years now. I wanted to give back to my students and just help them avoid all the mistakes that I made. Lesson 7 here is where the detailed training starts. And I really want you to set you on the right path and just accelerate your learning, like I said. So let's talk a minute about TradingView. This is TradingView. Like I said, we do our chart analysis on TradingView. We place trades using MetaTrader 4, but we use TradingView to do our chart analysis. And that's why you absolutely need TradingView. All of my students use TradingView. We need one tool as traders, one tool. And the best tool we have is TradingView. I've used this for the last 8 years, and I'll never change to any other charting platform. So if you want to be a trader, you need to have TradingView. I suggest using the student link. Like I said before, I send a lot of students to TradingView, so TradingView has given my students a discount link. So once you click on that link, during the 30-day trial, TradingView will give you an offer to try to convince you to subscribe to a paid account. The 1-year plans are the best price. They give you the maximum discount. Highly advise you to invest in either a Pro Plus or Pro account. You get a 30-day free trial, so you can complete my training in 30 days. You can try out TradingView 100% free. You can gain all this knowledge, and at the end of 30 days, you can decide if this is something that you want to proceed with or continue. And take it from me, I've been doing this 8 years now, and I just still remember the first time I found out about trading and saw the potential of how much money I could make, and I just became obsessed ever since. And I just want to mention one thing about one of my mistakes, and unfortunately many people make this mistake when they first get into trading. I'm sorry, you cannot trade on your phone. Yes, you can place trades on your phone by pushing some buttons, but I'm telling you right now, if you want to learn about trading, it's all about chart analysis. And right here, TradingView, this is chart analysis. There's a lot of scammers in the industry that want you to subscribe to they call it signals. So you subscribe, pay $150 a month or something like that, and they will send you a text message saying, buy gold or buy Australian dollar versus the US dollar or whatever asset you're trading. Basically, you get a text message and they tell you to buy, and you push some buttons on your phone, and if you lose money or make money, who knows how good those people are that are sending you signals. And more importantly, if someone is sending you signals and you don't know anything about chart analysis, do you actually feel like you're in control of your future? The answer is no. What I'm giving you here is the ability to take control of your own future. By learning chart analysis, at the end of these lessons, you will need nobody's help. You will have learned the skill of chart analysis, whether you're trading currencies or stocks or cryptocurrencies. It all is dependent on your ability to perform chart analysis. And that's why my training is absolutely 100% focused on chart analysis. So I highly recommend you get TradingView if you haven't already, and let's start this training. Okay, so you guys should see something that looks similar to what I'm looking at right now. So you should have a chart like this. If you have some volume bars showing here, just go up here and there'll be an X here. It'll say VOL, volume, with a little X when you move your mouse. So if you have a bunch of bars on the bottom here, just hit the X and get rid of it. And if you're at this page and you just logged in, you can go right here where it says charts and just click on chart, and it'll bring you to the charting page. So this is the main page you should be at. Okay, so in this chapter, we're going to be studying trend lines and parallel channels in an uptrend and a downtrend. We will be studying AUD/USD. So this is the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. We're going to be studying this as a group. In our student group, we all focus on AUD/USD, or AU for short, but it stands for Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Everything I'm teaching you, you can apply to any currency pair or cryptocurrencies or stocks, whatever you're trading. But in order for you to understand the tools that I'm about to teach you, and each lesson is going to be a different tool, in order for you to understand it efficiently and quickly, you need to study and focus on one currency pair. So as a group, we're all going to study AUD/USD as a group. We're going to mark up the charts together in the student group. We're all going to study the same pair, and it's going to accelerate your learning. So whatever you may have done in the previous chapters, Module 1 was just getting you familiarized with the tools and what software you needed. But from this lesson on, I want you to study AUD, USD. I want you to mark up these charts and post them in the student group and study only this pair. Once you finish the training, then you can decide to trade whatever you want. But like I said, in order for you to master the charts, you need to follow my rules and study one pair as a group, okay? Okay, so to add AUD, USD to your chart, just come up here, the top left here, and type in AUD, USD, and then you'll get something that looks like this. So I want you to take a look here. So this is exchanges. That means brokers. So when I say which broker data are you using, these are like the most popular large brokers that we're using as what I call data sources. So all this price movements, this is data. And we're getting data from various large exchanges. So I recommend using FXCM or Owanda or Forex.com, but as a group, let's just study AUD, USD using FXCM. So just click on that. I'm already on this page, so it would load a new chart that looks like this. Like I said, if you have some volume bars here, right here, you should see it'll say VOL. If it doesn't, just hit this little drop-down menu and then hit the X. I'm going to teach you about, this is where you get the indicator list. I'm going to teach you about that later, but if you have anything here that says volume, just hit the X and it'll get rid of this, if there's some different colored bars here. I want you to have a nice clean chart like I have right here. And let's get started. So this is what we called a shortcut bar. And we're going to be studying today trend lines and parallel channels. So this right here, if you hover your mouse over it, see how it says trend line? And right here, this is a parallel channel. And if you don't have these two items in your shortcut bar yet, then we can just go over here on the left, and right here, just look for this little symbol here, and when you click on the little arrow, it'll open up all of this. So make sure you have trend line. See this little favorite button? When you click it, it goes like a gold star, and it'll move. It moved it over here into my favorite bar. So that's, and if you want to move it to different positions, so just use your mouse. Use your mouse and left click and hold, and then you can drag it over here. So I like to have the Trendline tool and the parallel channel tool together. And let's just go back here and make sure you have everything favorited. So you can favorite the Trendline tool, horizontal line tool, horizontal ray, arrow, parallel channel. So we're going to be using parallel channel today, and we're going to be using the Trendline tool today. So that's how you create a favorite, and it shows up in this shortcut bar. And then you can move this by, just clicking with your left mouse button and holding. You can move this around wherever you want. I like to put it down here, but when I'm marking up the charts, I like it to move it on my charts just so it's around somewhere close. So you can do that. Okay, and so let's talk a little bit quickly about how to move the charts. So I want you to right click and just go reset. This just resets your chart to a nice viewing size. And see how I'm doing this, like I'm scrolling, like it's kind of like a zoom, and it kind of scrolls to the left. I'm using my scroll mouse. So I want you to practice this with your scroll mouse just to scroll the charts. It kind of just condenses it and it shows you more. It kind of moves to the left. So I'm doing this with my scroll mouse. And then when you want to zoom in, say I wanted to zoom in on this, I would just, if you're using a Windows-based computer, I want you to practice this. On your keyboard, push on the bottom left of your keyboard, there's a control button for Windows-based computers. If you hold down control and use your wheel mouse, now it just zooms in right where your cursor is. So see how it's zooming in I'm holding down the control key. If you're using a MacBook, it'll be the command button in the same area, the bottom left of your keyboard. On a Windows-based computer, it's a control key. So if you hold down the control key or command key and use your wheel mouse, you can zoom in on wherever your mouse is. So I'm letting go of the control key. Now it kind of scrolls left. And then if you want to zoom in on a certain spot, now I'm holding down the control key. So I just want you to practice that because we need to know how to manipulate the charts. And the other thing is, see right now, if you want to move the charts, you just left click with your mouse and you can move it around left and right. But right now I'm trying to move up and down and it's not letting me. Just as a reminder, you need to go to this right column here and left click and hold. And just you can adjust, this is how you adjust the vertical axis if you want to condense it or spread it. Once you move this just once, even just move it a touch, you can now move your chart. So left click and holding your charts, you can move it up and down, side to side. That's how you enable the vertical movement. So if I go right click and go reset, now when I try to move up and down, I can't. So just remember that. And now, when I adjusted it here, now I can move it up and down. Also, if you don't have a wheel mouse, you can use this zoom out and zoom in button here. I never use this thing here. This is just to move, I guess, left and right. But I highly recommend you guys get a wheel mouse because we're learning chart analysis here, and a wheel mouse is really helpful when trying to manipulate the charts. Okay, so now that we know how to move the charts, I've given you my little bit of a lecture on what I want you to focus on and how I want you to treat this training module and pretty much the entire training series. Now we're actually going to dive into trend lines and parallel channels in an uptrend and downtrend. So this is right here, again, this is my Trendline tool, and this is my parallel channel tool. Some people I see using the arrow tool. This is not what you use to draw a trend line. Yes, I know it makes similar to a trend line, but that is the arrow tool. So if I wanted to write something and then draw attention to it, that's when I use the arrow tool. So some students I've seen using the arrow tool to draw trendline tools. Please don't do that. Let's use the proper tools. So this is the trendline tool here. When you click it once, it'll bring up this little menu. You can change the thickness of the line. So if you click on right here, you can change the color. You guys can use any color you want. So that's how you choose the color. This is how you choose the thickness. And then this one here, you can have it a solid line. Leave it as solid. And then this just changes the way it looks. Just leave this. Don't adjust that. I'm going to click on this. It brings up this little menu. You can pick the color, pick the size. So once you actually draw the trend line, you can actually come here and you can go save drawing template as. So say if you draw this trend line and you like the green color, you can say thin green and hit save. So in the future, if you draw a trend line and say if it's, the default is some blue and you're like, no, I want it to be my default, you can just go here and see where I wrote in thin blue, and now it automatically just changes it to your preset. Okay, so now that you know how to use the template, let's see what else. After I draw my Trendline tool, there's this also lock feature. You can lock it. So sometimes when you're moving around the charts, you don't want to accidentally move your trend line. This applies to any tool. You can always lock it. It's up to you whether you want to use that lock. And right now I'm going to unlock it and just delete it. So that's kind of the settings you can save and how to change the colors. And that's all you really need to know on that topic right now. Okay, so right now we're looking, if we look up here, this is the daily chart. So because, see, we've clicked on it, you can see it's highlighted in blue. Each one of these candles represents 1 day of price movement. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the candle here. So if we're looking at this candle right here, this white candle, that's showing you us in 1 day, price went from this level, and this is the price, the right column here is the price. Price went from 0.70009 to right here, where when the candle, they call it candle closing. So the top, when it's going downwards, the top is where price opened, or the price of this day, this 1 day candle, price opened at this level, and then it closed when this candle closed. So since we're on the daily chart, 1 day, after 24 hours, the next candle forms. So see this next candle? So this 1 day, price went from here to here. And then you can look at the right column here and you can see it went from 0.70 to 0.687. So that's how the candles work. And why I'm telling you that is because I want you to get familiar with changing. These are called time frames. So right now, each candle represents 1 day. I want you to switch to 4 hours for the rest of this video. So I want you to, after we're done this training, I want you to just go through the daily chart and the 4-hour chart and even, the 1 hour chart. Everything we're learning, we can apply to any time frame. So you can go find, after the training, I want you to go find examples on various time frames, because trend lines and parallel channels, they happen on every time frame. So you don't have to stick to one time frame. I want you to right now we're just learning the tool, and the tool we're learning is about trend lines and parallel channels, how to draw them. And you need to know how to draw them on any time frame, and it's the same way. So right now, let's just go to the 4-hour time frame, because we'll find more examples on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so what I first want to help you understand is when I say parallel channels in an uptrend and a downtrend, well, I need you to know what I mean by an uptrend and a downtrend. So I'm just going to push this out of the way. So I'm going to use a square box here, and I'm going to highlight. So here, you can see that each candle is what I'm referring to as price. So because these candles represent price movement, I'm saying you can see how price is moving in a downward motion. This is what I mean by a downtrend. So when I'm saying to draw a trend line in a downtrend, that means you're looking for drawing a trend line on price that's moving in a downward motion. That's what it's called when you're drawing a trend line in a downtrend. So this is what a downtrend looks like. And then obviously here, this is what a uptrend looks like. You can see price is moving from here, and it's moving in an upwards motion. So that's what a uptrend is, okay? Okay, so let's first let's look at this example here. I drew some examples. I'm going to go through them one by one. I'm going to draw them out as well with you. So just move the charts until you kind of get a nice picture, like kind of a nice picture of how the candles are moving. And this is how you draw a trend line. So I'm just going to delete this, bring up my Trendline tool. And when we're drawing a trend line in a downtrend, so see how price is moving downwards. In the downtrend, we draw the trend line from the top. So when I mean top is, see how price is going downwards? We draw from the top. This is the top side. This is the bottom side, right? We're drawing a trend line on the top. So when it's a downtrend, we draw it from the top. So let me just draw this and then I'll talk about what exactly I'm seeing here. Okay, so I'm going to use this is the text tool. So I'm going to just draw point A. I'm going to draw point B. And then this is also, you can label as point C. But let me redraw this trend line, and just so you can kind of get familiar with it. You want to start from a point on the candle. So let me try zooming in here. So you want to try to just, when you're initially drawing a trend line, you just want to kind of draw it kind of like freehand. Like, you don't need to be accurate at this moment. You definitely need to be accurate. But at this moment, you want to just kind of draw it out and then let go of your mouse. So to draw it out, again, you click on the Trendline tool, you click once your left mouse, and now it'll stay like this. So I just clicked once, and then when I am done stretching out my trend line, then I can just click the mouse button one more time and it stays there in place. So let me try that again for you guys. I'm going to just click the Trendline tool. I'm going to start about here, and I'm looking at see this tip of this candle here, this what we call a wick. I'll just draw it somewhere close to it. So I clicked once, I let go of my left mouse, and I just drag it over, and then I click the left mouse again, and it places it on my chart. And now you go back and actually fine tune your positioning. So I'm going to make sure this trend line right here is touching, let me zoom in a bit. I'm going to make sure it's touching like right there. See how it touched the line? And then what I do is I go from here, and this is called dragging it into the future. So I just kind of drag it into the future, and my eyes are actually focused right here. So even though my mouse is dragging it over here, my eyes are looking right here. So what I want to do is make this line just touch the top of that candle. And I'm going to highlight it for you guys. And here, if I didn't have any data here, then I would just look at point A and point B and draw my trend line. But since we have some data here, I'm going to see how it looks if I just adjust it a little bit lower, and then maybe adjust this just a little bit like that. And if I zoom in here, I'm going to use my keyboard again. I'm going to hold the control key and scroll with my mouse. See how now it stays in that one position? It's really nice. And then you can scroll this channel using the left column here, or pardon me, the right column here. And now I got a really nice view of, see how I wanted it to touch this point as well. And I made it touch this point. And even though you can see here that it kind of tapped above it, but look at that little spike there. See how that little spike just touched that line perfectly? Well, what you want to do is try to get as many touches of the line perfectly, and this actually worked out pretty good. I'm going to switch to the daily chart really quick and see how it looks. So now that's why I said you can switch between 4-hour, daily chart, whatever you want. So right here you can see it touched there, perfectly, and I'm just going to adjust this a little bit, and it touched that top wick perfectly. And drawing trend lines or anything you're drawing, it's all about accuracy. So I really want you to focus on your accuracy, and we want to try to find as many touches that we can when we're drawing trend lines or channels. So this is how you draw a trend line in a downtrend. So let me zoom out. We're on the daily chart. For now, we'll stay on the daily chart because this example here looks pretty good on a daily chart. So just to review, in a downtrend, you want to draw from the top. Some people, some students, they might make a mistake of drawing it on the bottom here. This is not, you don't draw a trend line that's in a downtrend from the bottom. It's always the top. In a downtrend, you draw it from the top. Let me try to find you an uptrend. So right here, we have an uptrend. Let me see. Trying to find you a really good example. Let's try to draw it here. So see how that was a downtrend? We drew it from the top. This is an uptrend, so we're gonna draw it from the bottom. So let me just, like I said, we're just gonna kind of freehand draw it, and now we try to fine tune the placement. So give me a second and see how we can make it fit. Okay, there, perfect. So see how, initially you're like, oh, it's not really on that line perfectly, but let's look into detail. So we made it touch right here. We made it touch right here. We made it touch right here. And you can also see after price, see how after price broke through it, this candle came up, and see that wick? See how it tapped that wick before it started dropping? That's just more proof that this is a valid trend line. So that's the other thing I was looking at. So when I drew this trend line, my eyes were looking here, 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 here. And also, you can kind of see these wicks are also touching that line. So this is how you draw a trend line in a uptrend. See, not from the top. From the top is when we're drawing a trend line that's in a downtrend. Let me draw a square around it just to emphasize that this is a downtrend. And this is an uptrend. That's basically how you draw trend lines in a downtrend and an uptrend. So I'm going to use these same examples and show you how to draw a channel. So a channel is similar to drawing a trend line, but a parallel channel, has two lines on either side. So I'm just going to delete all this, and we can do it again. If you want to delete this, you just click on it with your mouse and then hit the delete key on your keyboard. Or you can click on it and you can also hit this little garbage can. I'm just going to delete this for now. This was another example I wanted to show you. So again, we're going to draw, this is a downtrend. So let me just highlight it again. This is a downtrend. And we're going to draw a parallel channel. So this time we're going to use right here our parallel channel tool. See that? Parallel channel tool. So I'm going to delete this square, and I'm going to click on the parallel channel tool once. It'll bring up this menu here. Like I said, you can pick the colors, the thickness, and you can, once you draw it, you can save a template, or you can, apply a template that you've already saved previously. So I'm just going to delete this again and do it again with you. So let me first just show you how to use this tool. So you click on it, and then you click your left mouse button once. It places it on the chart, and now I'm not holding my mouse button at all. I just clicked it once, and now I click the left mouse key again. It places the second point, and now I'm still not holding any any button on my mouse. It just, now it's asking me to drag this parallel channel. So whatever you set these 2 points, point 1, point 2, it'll make a parallel. That is why it's called a parallel channel. It'll draw this second line completely parallel. Parallel means right beside each other. These two lines will never cross. That's what a parallel means. It'll draw it parallel. And then you just click your left mouse button once more and it'll place it on the chart. You can adjust this parallel channel like that, and you can also, by clicking on your mouse and holding, you can adjust it like this. So that's how you make the adjustments, and that's how you apply it. I'm just going to delete it, and let's draw it one more time. Actually draw the channel in a downtrend. Okay, so I'm going to click on the parallel channel tool. I'm going to start about, actually, I see this tip here. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to click here. Like I said, just kind of draw it out really rough and just kind of drag it down and click it. Now I'm going to try to fine tune this, see how this looks. See, when you see a gap, when there's a gap like this means like this was most likely, when there's a gap, that's usually like the weekend, like when the markets are closed. So sometimes if you see a gap, it may not be the best place to use as a point on your channel. So because I see that gap, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to just focus on these 3 points that I used before. So again, I'm just going to make it touch this line. And because we're doing a downtrend, we're using the top side as our trend line that we're drawing. So even though we're drawing a parallel channel, we're still drawing our initial trend line from the top because it's a downtrend. So let me just fine tune it. Okay, so I've found that point, touching the line, it's touching there, it's touching here. And now it comes to drawing the bottom part of the channel. So let me just play around with this and then I'll come back to you in 1 minute. So see how this is a little short. If I want to extend it, I just go to the top, extend it, make sure that I'm still touching that line. And look, it touches that base of that candle really nicely. And let me see. So yeah, so for the bottom channel, I'll highlight it. I'm using this point right there. I'm also using this point right here. And like I said, drawing trend lines and channels is really subjective, so you gotta kind of draw it in and then adjust it. And now, let me show you one thing. Just double click. If you ever want to change the settings, just double click on the parallel channel. I want to make sure the settings you have the same as me. So this middle line here. So I want you to make sure you have this turned on. So middle line here, you can pick whatever color you want. Visibility, you should have all of these selected on. This is just setting what charts they're displayed on. So make sure visibility, it has all of them checked, and you have these guys all the way from 1 to max. You can just adjust this. So make sure that's all set like that, and select the middle, because see how it draws that middle line in? That's very important. I'll show you why. Background, you can have it on. I like turning it off because I like to have, my charts a little more clean looking. This just extends. Some people like this, it continues to extend the line. I don't like having these extensions on. I think they kind of clutter my charts. I'll just manually extend them like I did if you want to make it longer. So just have middle turned on and have everything else turned off, but it's up to you if you want to change them around a little bit. But make sure the middle is on, because I'll show you why. Because when we're drawing this channel, we also want to look at see, when we mark up or line up our bottom points and our top points, then the next thing I want you to focus on is see how the middle line plays a role in these candles. Because look right here, look how it touched there perfectly, and then look here, you can see how it's finding, it's playing a role there again. Here you can just see generally that it's finding, whether you want to call it support or resistance, it's finding resistance or support around these lines here. You can see that it's affecting price. So this is just showing us that this trend line, this parallel channel that we're drawing is valid, right? Even again here, you can see the middle section is playing a role on price. When we're buying and selling, which I'll teach you a little bit later, but you can sell from the top of the channel to the middle channel, or you can sell from the top of the channel to the bottom of the channel. So that's the point of drawing a channel, that when price is, if it's found resistance here, well, maybe we'll look for a selling opportunity at this next, and we could have sold all the way down here, and then price came back up. Well, if it's fallen from here, and price has fallen from here, then most likely people are looking for price to fall again from here. And I'll answer this one question that sometimes a lot of people have. They're like, how does doing chart analysis, why does price actually move the way it does? Why is it following this channel? It seems kind of weird. The reason why it's following this channel is because there's millions of other traders just like you and me that are drawing these trend lines and these channels the same way. So if you have millions of people drawing these channels and looking to, say, sell in the same area that you're now looking to sell, that's what makes price move in the direction that we're predicting, because there's millions of other people doing the same analysis the same way. All right, so that's how you draw a channel in a downtrend. Again, make sure you're using the top as your reference point when you're drawing a trend line or a channel in a downtrend. Now let's go to, where was our uptrend example? I think it was this one here. So let me just quickly delete all these. I like to just keep my charts clean. And okay, so let's just draw an uptrend channel. So like I said, when we're drawing a trend line or a channel in an uptrend, see how this is an uptrend? We're generally moving up. That's why it's an uptrend. We're going to draw our trend line or channel from the bottom. So I'm going to go to the parallel channel tool. I'm just going to kind of rough draw it like this and just place the parallel channel on top. And now I'm going to fine tune it again. So I'm going to, make sure it touches there. And that looks pretty good. And I'll highlight what I'm looking at. So I made it touch here. I made it touch here. I made it touch right here. And now I'm going to adjust this top channel here. So give me a second. Let me just kind of see what I'm seeing. Okay, so basically I made it touch this wick right here. That little line is what we call a wick. And then I made it touch, it's pretty much touching 2 to 3 candles there. And yeah, that's pretty good. So now let's examine how well the middle portion lines up. So there, that's proof that it's a valid channel or a center channel. Here again, you can see it's playing a role. And then again here, it's acting as, what we call resistance. When price comes and hits the bottom, we call that support. When it goes up and hits from above somewhere, it's called resistance. So found support here, resistance here, it jumped up, found support, jumped up, found resistance, support, 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 resistance. So there you go. That's how you draw a channel in an uptrend. We use the bottom as a reference when we're drawing in an uptrend, whether it's a parallel channel or a trend line. If you see a channel, draw a channel, but sometimes, you're just going to play around with it. I want you to try to find multiple examples of channels and trend lines, and I want you to get familiar with drawing it. So basically, that's all you really need to know to draw a trend line and a channel. I'm just going to do a couple more examples with you. And then I want you to, like I said, I want you to, if you want to watch this video again, sure. But I want you to duplicate what we learned today on our charts. I want you to duplicate it on your own charts. And then I want you to, if you go up here, see this little camera button? This is how you're going to post your charts. So whatever you mark up, so say you marked up, so pretend this is a channel here and it's nicely marked up like I had, you just hit this camera button. It'll give you a link, and then you go to a student group. You all know how to create a post, but essentially you get a link, and this is what happens. You just paste that link. So you can, when you hit the camera button, when you hit the camera button, this automatically copies it. See, it says copied to clipboard, and then you can, in a Facebook post, you just paste it, or a shortcut is Control-V to paste, right? So you should all know how to paste. That's how you take a picture of your, and I'll go to the student group right now. I want you to, so you want to go to groups. So you should all know how to get into the student group. If you're not in the student group, on the website, there should be a link with instructions how to join the student group. And then here, like when you're going to create a post, I want you to label it. So I want you to go say lesson 7, trend lines and channels, and then Control-V, or you can right click and paste, and that's what happens. So you just I want you to label it. I want you to paste the link, and then just hit post. And then someone in the group, most likely me, will come and let you know what you're doing right and what you may need to work on. And I want you to use this student group to confirm your understanding of every lesson before you move forward. Because trading and chart analysis is about accuracy. If you go through all the lessons and you kind of have a okay idea of what you're doing, well, that's not going to cut it. I've created this course, and I'm teaching you specific skills. I'm not going to teach you an endless amount of information, because I know that's not what you want, or that's not what you need. I'm teaching you specific skills so that when you reach lesson 22, and then again in lesson 28, I'm going to give you a winning strategy, and it all depends on you being able to put all these tools that I've given you together. And I'm going to show you how to do all that, so don't worry. All you got to do is master one lesson at a time, use the student group to your advantage, and yeah, so here, okay, I'm just going to show you a couple more examples really quickly. Okay, let's try drawing a trend line here. So let's go to the 4-hour chart. Like I told you, the 4-hour chart, we will find more examples. The lower time frame always has more examples. So a lot of my students, they end up, drawing on the monthly or daily. That's fine and all, but if you're not finding enough examples, like I said, everything you're learning, you can do on the lower time frame. The lower time frame, it'll just give you more examples. And I'll talk about the time frames more in different chapters. Right now, we're just focusing on trend lines and channels. So here, we see prices trending downwards. Let's just try to draw a trend line. And when it's a downtrend, we draw from the top. So I'm just going to roughly draw it out, then fine tune it. So even though I'm moving my mouse here, my eyes are now looking here. So I'm going to stretch it out. This is what I call stretching it, or stretching it into the future. I say future because to the right is newer data, so that's the future. And then my eyes are focused over here. So let me just draw this in there. So what I was looking at here. I was looking at here. And I was looking at here. And then you can see later on price, it came back up to here. And now you can see, look, it's fighting for this level and it fell down. And then it found support on this before it just completely collapsed down. So this is how you use trend lines. I'll teach you how to place trades and how to put this all together later. But right now, I just want you to learn how to draw proper trend lines. So that's a trend line in a downtrend. Let's draw a channel as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to line up that. I'm just going to place the parallel channel anywhere. I'm just going to now fine tune it. Yeah, it's looking pretty good there. And now I'm going to try to find a good point for, so sometimes you can, it may be down here or it may be a little bit higher. 1 second here. So you could draw it something like that, and I'll show you why. I kind of lined it up here. I saw this touch right here. I saw this touch right here. I saw price here, it broke through and then it kind of tested the bottom of the channel. And then I saw this. And now let's examine the middle part of the channel. So you can see some sort of battle happening at the middle of the channel. Here, there's a lot of supporting evidence here. It's finding resistance. Came pretty close to touching here. And then here, look, lots of support. So that's the name of the game. And again, if price has touched here once, touched here twice, then there's a lot of people looking to sell around this area. And look, if we sold from here, boom, we would have made a lot of money. And I'll show you a little later how to use these. This is called the long and short position tool. It pretty much just tells you your risk to reward. So don't worry about this. I'm going to teach you this later, but watch here. I'm just going to apply it. So say because price touched here and touched here, I would have been looking for a sell here. So look at my, I could have sold to the bottom of the channel. Stop loss is, how much you want to risk. So if I just, if I had set a stop loss just above this channel and I sold from here, this is telling my risk to reward. So that's telling me for every $1 I risked here, I would have made 12 times returns. That just knowing how to draw a channel, you could have made 12x. 12x. No other industry or skill can you learn where you can just draw a simple trend line and make 12 times your money. It's amazing. And that's why I'm so excited that you're learning this amazing new skill with me. And I'm so happy to actually provide this training for you. So, giving you guys training has really gave my life purpose, and I'm very thankful that I'm able to set you on the right track on this journey. Okay, so let me find one more example and say an uptrend, and I think that's it. I want you to go and practice after. So here, let's see here. This looks like an uptrend. Let me draw a trend line. One second. So that looks about right. And I just use that point, that point. You can see that it dipped down a bit, but it popped right back up. Right here, and same thing right there. And then I'm going to delete this line and draw a parallel channel the same way. So I'm just going to roughly draw it and then fine tune it. So that looks about right there. Let me adjust this guy here. And then let me try to find a nice position for this guy. Okay, and for the top channel, I used this point. I used this wick right there, see that? I also, considered this area here. And now let's quickly look at the evidence in the center. So there, 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 and there, and even more over here. So yeah, so I hope you get the point. I want you to go back and study what we learned today. I want you to duplicate this on your own TradingView chart, and then I want you to go and post it in the student group, just like this student, lesson 9, learning market structure, asking for feedback. That's how you do it. You want to learn quickly, follow my rules, use the student group, use me to your advantage. Right now I have the time to give you feedback. Who knows how the future will be and what may come up. So don't drag your feet. Use this opportunity, and I guarantee you by the end of this training, you will wake up every morning dying to get on your charts to mark them up, because the feeling it gives you is amazing. Just doing this training for you guys, it makes me feel like that guy I was when I first started learning about chart analysis and about Forex trading. It was a magical feeling, and I still feel that way till today. One last thing. Yeah, I told you how to select this chart here. Also, you can go over here, just click over here. One second, let me move this. So this is called your watch list. So I want you to go AUD, USD, and we're going to be studying this guy here. If you just click it, it'll paste it into this, and then you can left click with your mouse and hold, and you can move it. Just move it to your top. So when you load your charts, you can save your favorite pairs. This is what Forex pairs are called, but we're going to be studying this as a group. Until you finish all the training, I want you to focus on one pair. When we're all studying the same pair in the student group, your success is going to be accelerated. Okay, I'll see you in the student group, and I'm looking forward to you posting your first charts.